All right, in this video, we're going to look at a few more of the advanced notation problems. We're going to start back with the basics, and just as a reminder, we have what's in the parentheses, that's your input, and then what you get out, whatever you have it equal to, that is your output. So in this particular situation, whatever we have for in the parentheses, we have -3. We're going to plug that in for x, and we're going to get our output. So we're going to do 2, and then we're going to multiply that by -3, but the key is that -3 is squared plus 1. All right, so we have 2 times -3 squared plus 1. Now, if you need to put that in Desmos, by all means, please do. So if I need to do 2 parentheses -3 squared plus 1 to get your output, that's going to be equal to 19. So my output here is 19, okay? So at this point, I have an output value of 19. So remember, what you input is going to affect what your output is. So output. All right, so we have basically at the end, we have f of -3 is equal to 19. Now, let's say I adjust this just a little bit, and I say that I have g of x is 2x squared plus, or let's do minus 4x. So we're still going to have our input. Our input is still going to be x. This is still going to be our input value. But this time we're going to do an input into multiple x spots, okay? Because there's multiple x's. So let's find g of -2. So wherever we see x, we're going to put in -2 in that spot. So we're going to put -2 here. Make sure we square it. -4, and then -2 again. So everywhere you see an x, that is your input value of -2 that you're going to put in. So this is the x that we're substituting. So you can go plug that in Desmos if you need to. So I'm going to put this on the side over here. So we have 2 times -2 squared minus 4 parentheses -2. And we get an output of 16. So once we have that output, we now know what produces or what we get from the input. So this is our output. All right, so basically what you're saying is we say g of -2 equals 16. So that's just a kind of review from the previous lesson. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at what happens instead if they don't give us the input and they give us the output. So for this one, they want us to find x. So we got to find the input. So find the input. And they're going to give us the output. So our output this time is 11 because they told us that g of x equals that. So this is our output here. So what we can do is we know that our function is 3x plus 5. We're not going to plug it in here. So do not substitute here because that's the input. We want to substitute it in for the output. So we're going to take our problem and we're going to solve, and we're going to say that 3x plus 5, and we're going to say it equals 11 because it equals the output. So this is the output number. So we're going to solve this. So we're going to solve, and once we solve, we're going to find x here. So if we solve this problem, we're going to subtract 5, and that's going to give me 3x is equal to 6. Divide by 3, and then x equals 2. So we found our input. So this value right here is our x, our input. So we work backwards to find what we would have originally plugged in. All right. So now I'm going to do the same thing here. So we're finding x, we're finding the input. but they gave us the output. So the output for this particular problem is 17. So they're saying g of x is 17, so that's your output. So we're going to come and we're going to plug our problem in, or we're going to set it equal to, not plug in. So we're going to set it equal here. We are not going to substitute here. We are not going to substitute. Do not substitute here. So we're going to set it equal to it and solve. So we're going to say that negative 4x minus 7 is equal to the output. The output is 17. And then once we solve this, that's going to give us the x value, the original input. So we're going to add 7. So negative 4x is going to now equal 24. Then we're going to divide by negative 4. And then x equals negative 6. So that negative 6 is our original input that we would have done if we had plugged it in for x. Okay. Now, very similar to this, this time they're going to give us the input and the output, and they're going to ask us to find a unknown value k. So they love to use this problem very similar to it on exams. So at this point, they give us the input. So right here, they give us the function. All right, so here's my whole function. But we don't know this value k. That's what we're trying to find right here. Okay, so they're going to give us the input. How do I know it's the input? Because it's in the parentheses. So we have input here. And they're going to give us the output. And they're going to give us our output here. So we have our output. So how do we deal with that? Well, we're going to plug in everything we know. Right here is our output. We're going to plug in for the output. And the input is here. We're going to solve for x. And we're going to have enough numbers in the next situation that we can plug everything where it needs to go and solve. So we have, so again, we have g of x equals 1/2 times x plus k. So in the g of x spot, that is our output. So we're going to substitute the output, which is 5. All right. In the x spot, we're going to plug in our input. So in our input spot, we're going to substitute in 12. And then k is what we're solving for. That's what we're trying to find. So we just need to simplify. So we have 1/2 of 12. So 1/2 of 12 is 6, but if you need to do it further, you say 1 times 12 is 12, and then that's divided by 2, which is going to be 6. So this is going to be 6 plus k. And then we just solve for k. So we're going to subtract 6, and we get that k equals -1. So our final answer for k is -1. All right, so very similar question again, just to kind of review what we talked about. So our main function that we're looking at right here is h of x. So h of x equals 3x plus k. So we're looking at our input. Our input is -2, so this is our input. And our output is what it's equal to, so that's going to be 9. So those pieces are going to go in h of k, that's going to be our output, and in x we're going to put our input. So let me rewrite this very quickly. So we have h of x equals 3x plus k. All right, so h of x is our output. So in our output spot, we're going to plug in 9. So this is our output. Output is 9, so that's what we're going to substitute there. Then we have 3 times x x is our input. So we're going to substitute in negative 2 plus k. And then we just solve and simplify. All right, so we got 9 equals negative 6 plus k, because 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Then we're going to add 6 over, and k equals 15.